everyone. I'm just going to wait a couple of seconds, let this the phone video start up, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I will see you in like 10-15 seconds. Okay. So, hi everyone, this is the April video where I'm going to be talking about Totally Tiffany's organizational products. It's sort of the series, there's 3 months in a row here. Hey Crystal! Whoops! That's what happens when I don't have a clear table. Stuff might go flying here, folks. So anyway, this is the second in 3 months in a row that I'm talking about organization products and things in particular. And I wanted to kind of showcase, last month I just did a video scan of my area. Some areas are organized, some areas need some help. I'm sure you all feel the same. Hey Laura, hey Linda. So this time, for this month, the second of 3, I'm going to be talking about Totally Tiffany's organizational products. There's some of hers that I have adapted and loved, like love. And then there's some, I'm going to show you one that I tried it. It's not necessarily working for me, so I'm going to try something else, but it might work for you because everybody has different styles and such. So before I switch over, I wanted to just showcase here. So at the top of this bookcase are 2 of the Tiffany's organizers, and I'll get you the full names and everything on them. This is as well, as are these, as is this. And finally, this one that if you watched the February video, you might recall, because this is the one that holds all of my templates from Leah France as well as Creative Memories. So let me go ahead and get started. I might have to adjust the camera angle just a little bit. So I know I had put a note out there. Hey Erica, perfect timing because I'm just getting to your section here. So I put a note out there, I think at the end of last month's video, asking for what challenges are you guys having, or what problem areas, or what is it that, whether you had tips as well as if you had some challenges for your craft area, because some folks are lucky enough to have like a whole room with tables and just everything, and others are crammed into a closet. So those are the 2 extremes. I have a little portion of this TV room and I'm very grateful, and I have a lot crammed in here, so I'm always constantly adjusting my organization styles, especially since I haven't quite figured out yet how not to continue buying things. I'm working on it, but it is a work in progress. So there was one question that came up about how to store scraps. So I'm going to go off camera just to grab what I used to put my scraps in, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay. So this is what I used to store my scraps in. One of these nice art bins. It's a super satchel, double deep. It had removable drawers, which I did remove. And this thing was filled a little more than half, so it was filled to about here, full of scraps. It had, the full 12 by 12 size that I just had trimmed a little bit off, or maybe used to punch out some, butterflies or whatever it was. I had all the way down to small scraps that were definitely smaller than 3 by 3. I had triangles. I had all these weird scraps in here. Not only is this awkward, it's pretty large. This, let's see if it even says it on here. It doesn't say the dimensions, but it did hold 12 by 12 paper with some room to spare. So it was hard to store. I mean, you had to have a lot of space just to store it. And when you're going to a crop, the last thing you have is space. Because even with a great 6-foot or 8-foot table, this is taking up, over 10% of that. But that's what I was using for the longest time until I actually ran into somebody learned a little bit about Totally Tiffany. I had been looking at her website off and on for probably a couple of years, never bought anything. But when this kind of became a need, I actually ran across this. So there are two items here. There actually is the holders, which are paper size holders, and they have handles that hide when you don't need them. So for portability, it's perfect, and it takes up so little space. When I pointed over here that I have some, I hold a lot of my page kits, whether it's quick quotes, whether it's from the Scrap and Stamp Expo that I buy. I hold, each of these has different types of those. And I also could use these for cardstock. Right, I had something else that I was using for that at the time. Hi, Erin. So this is what I end up using now, and all of the scraps that used to fit, as I said, that took up over half of this, now fits perfectly in here, and there's still room to grow. So what do I have in here? As I said, these are two pieces, and I will link the actual items in a separate post when I'm done making this one. But I'm just going to remove those handles so they're out of sight. Perfect, it sits perfectly flush. So there's the outside container, and then this is actually sold as a 5-pack. So there's 5 of these pockets, and this is what I love. I mean, this is absolutely, like, if there was one thing that I would say is my absolute favorite, and everybody, I swear everybody should get this. No, I don't have a referral link or anything, so this is just, you know, my honest opinion. It's these folders. So there's 5 of them. They do actually have a tab, and they do come with text. So if you wanted, you could actually, like, list what they were. So what I did was I sorted all of my colors. All patterns, like patterned paper, went into one. And then for all the cardstock, I sorted it into color themes. So this one's kind of the green and blues. So what do you get with this? You have a 12 by 12 outside pocket, which right now I actually have nothing in. On the back side, you also have another 12 by 12 pocket. Again, I have nothing in it in the greens. I do have with some of the other colors. And I know I just got a little bit out of focus here. The inside, let's see if it'll, okay, there we go. The inside has two pockets. So what do I have on this side? I'm just going to flip this over for the moment. Okay, so there is the small size. That's the smallest of the size here. Flips up, stuff can go in it, and there's actually 2 levels on all of these for how you can hook it, because as your stash grows, you might need the looser of the 2. Right now this is still a small amount, so I can go on the, you know, the thicker one. So then you've got a medium size. So what fits in here? This is really, you know, anything that's like 6 inches. It actually goes a little bit more, but like 6 inches or less I put in here. And then down here on the bottom for this side are 12 by 12 strips. And it goes up to about 4 inches, so you can fit different sizes. So what I tend to do is if it doesn't fit in here, I try here. If it doesn't fit here, then I put it in there. Or I guess I should say I do that backwards, so let me try that again. If it doesn't fit in here, I go here. If it doesn't fit in here, I go here. And things that are even larger than this, maybe it's still 12 inches, but maybe it's 6 inches or 8 inches wide. That's what the other side is for. And again, it's a 12 by 12, but if you notice, it has this lower slope here, whereas the outer sides had the edge here. So you can tell I have some of this. I have a lot of things here. Like I said, sometimes I will just punch things out of a side of cardstock. I did that here. I did that here. Here's some leftovers. And I just kind of, you know, just pile that up in there. So each of these are just different sizes, and I just kind of find the pockets where it fits the best. So I'm gonna just quickly pull out these others. So here's sort of, I think, the gray, black, browns, and maybe purples. I don't have a lot of purple, but back here I do actually happen to have a lot of cardstock in this section. On the inside, again, a lot of stuff that I've cut that were 6x6 size and such. Over here, I don't have as much here. There's only a few things, but I have a lot, definitely have a lot in this one. So here's the patterned paper one. This is the one that's the fullest, we'll just say, because a lot of times when you're cutting cardstock, you're cutting it to use as a mat, so you don't have a lot of odds and ends. You might have like full-size strips, but with patterned paper, you're doing a lot of different things, especially if you follow Project Recipes or other formats. You know, Close to My Heart has some, if you're using Kiwi Lane as well. So this is completely filled. And so what I did on the front here is I have a lot of these little strips. So we had Project Recipes where we were cutting 1-inch, 2-inch, 3-inch strips, even down to 1/2 inch. So all of the extras that didn't get used in those recipes, I put in the front. So all the way through, that whole thing there is all just those kind of 12 by whatever inches. And then I also have, I mentioned I had some triangles, because if you've seen the video I did with the Creative Memories template where it was kind of the sunburst. Prior to that, a couple years ago, there was a make it yourself template that looked like a sunburst, and it was all over the internet. So if you're crafty, you probably had seen it. And so these, actually, the shortcut is these are left over from creating that by hand. On the inside, again, this one you can tell here just by how thick that is, that that's actually bulging. Again, I've got a lot here and I've got a lot down here. This is very filled, if you can just see all the paper in there. And then the back side, I have a few things here that are just some odds and ends. So all of this stuff, because of how they were able to organize it and put it in, you know, its place, it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. And so all of that ends up only being, you know, that thick. And when you actually put it in the binder, you're actually talking about that thick. So the last two, it's the same things. There's the reds, and then kind of the yellows and oranges. So all of this, if you actually look at it like this, you know, it's pretty thick. It's not taking up that much less room than this bin when you actually look at it that way. But putting it in here, you can cut, you know, everything presses against each other a little bit. And that's perfect because, as I said, this becomes a lot thinner when you've got this restriction. So everything, you know, that I just showed you, all of that fits in there. And I actually still have one out because in case maybe scraps aren't your problem. I know it was definitely mine. I know it's one of yours. I love this for that idea, but maybe you're thinking about power layouts and you want a place where you can put your photos. So maybe your photos are going here. Maybe you've got stickers, a sticker pack, or borders. You can use, you know, this for 12 by 12, the papers that you want to put it with. You could use these outer ones for the photos because they are deeper and you're not going to be tipping it. Now technically you can, but I tend to keep mine upright. It just keeps everything in place, even though I have these different pockets actually closed. So it's a great way for that. I have seen a couple other uses for it as well, but those are really the main two. For scraps, for trying, you know, when you want to put collections together. I'm actually going to be doing a couple of those myself for a crop that I'm going to this weekend. It'll actually be my first 3-day crop ever, but unfortunately I was not smart enough to buy more of these in advance, so I kind of have to do it the old-fashioned way, where grab some paper, grab some photos, grab some coordinating stickers or embellishments. So this is the first thing that I really wanted to show you. And again, I will put the direct link to both the you get all 5 of these pockets. It's one thing. You don't have to buy them individually. You get 5 of them. And then these, the actual holders, are individual. So I will put the link, like I said, in a separate post for that. And let me just put this back. The nice thing about these, I will say on the back side, because on the front side here you have this, so you can actually kind of grab, you know, what's in them without having to flip through this way. You can easily, you know, look through that way. And then the nice thing about it is if you put it on the shelf, it actually has like a thumb hole, so you can actually grab and pull it out. So in this, and it has that hole on either side. So say you don't want to show all the mess, you just want to show this. You could label this and actually list what it is, but then nobody has to see all the junk inside. So that's why I believe they put the holes on both sides. So this is hands down my favorite thing that I've seen and used of theirs so far. Outside of that, I'm just going to set this back. As I mentioned, I use these also for different page kits. This is an example of a page kit that I bought from somebody on the internet, and that's going to be coming up, I believe, yep, in June. So I'll be talking about that one in June. Easy Laser Designs, they're one of the folks that attends the Stamp and Scrapbook Expo, along with Want to Scrap. I've got stuff from them. I do have, like I said, I do have some quick quotes in here. And it's just a great way for storage of anything like that. They might even have different sizes of this, so if you have stencils that are 6x6, you can do that. But I'm actually going to show you that next. So currently, these are empty. Because I bought them, I haven't had time yet to fully figure out. I kind of bought an 8x8. And I bought actually it's not quite a 6x6, but it will work for those sizes. And I wanted to try to figure out if some of the things that I have loose and in other areas I can actually just, again, condense down and put into here. So if I can do that, that's going to be a great thing. So with this one, I'll just open this up. This actually has a side handle. So that I actually find pretty cool. I haven't used it yet, so I still have to actually get it fully snapped in. Right now it's just on the side there. But you can label. There's top and side labeling. It again has, you know, the seal lid. And these come flat, and as you can tell they're scored, and then you just put them together. So this one actually has, was it like 6 of these inside of it? So it comes in with a little pouch. So again, like you could separate photos in this. The front has a pouch. Like this is actually just like, you know, like an envelope sort of. This actually is a pouch that comes with its own little notes thing. So you could just jot down and write what's, you know, what you've got stored in there. And then here are the stickers, you know, that you can actually put on the tops of each of these. So I think I bought this one because I was going to make some cards and wanted someplace to store them. I think that's why I bought it. Not quite sure. This I believe I actually bought to deal with my 6x6 and 8x8 stencils that I have. Because right now, this is how I'm storing them. It's working. This is actually just sitting in one of, I've got a low 3 shelf over there, and so I just have everything crammed right in here. But again, I'm not going to pick this up and take this. It's portability. You know, if I'm going to take it somewhere, I have to flip through all of it and, you know, figure out which ones I want and stuff. So I think that might have been why I bought this size. I'm just going to put this back. So what I wanted to show you next was actually some that I have used. I have bought some smaller sizes, and to do this I have to take this apart. This shelf is primarily my card shelf, so all of my envelopes, all of my cardstock that's already like card size is up here, and then I have some actual card kits and things up here as well. So some of them, I think Laura, if you're still on, you might recognize that I got from you. So as I said, there's a couple things that are loose because I ran out of space. There's one of the Creative Memories card kits. But what I wanted to share with you is an example here of one of these. So you can just put envelopes in these, which is exactly what I did here. So I've got some card base here, so these are actually some blank cards, and then I have envelopes, and I just separated them. So I actually have 2 of those that are used specifically for that. And then I'm going to switch gears to this. This is also Totally Tiffany's. But I'm just going to quick put this back because I know I will quickly run out of space on my table to actually show you things if I don't do that. Okay. So what I have here, I'm going to stick that there. Oops. There we go. Okay. So what I have here is another Totally Tiffany's. But the nice thing about Totally Tiffany is they actually will partner with other companies. So I think before, and I'm just actually going to grab one thing that's right here. If you were with me last year, you know that I talked about Kiwi Lane, and I even kind of showed a little bit of how I used it to make a layout. And this is actually one of the things that just came in from my recent order from fellow group member Marcella Weber. So, Marcella, when I make my post about these, feel free to drop your link if you want. You know, share a little love. So anyway, so Kiwi Lane has all of these wonderful templates and things that all you do is you just lay it down on your paper or cardstock, trace it, and then you just cut it with scissors. It's as simple as that. But storing them, that became a challenge for me because, as you've heard me say many times, I can't buy just one thing. When I try something, I buy a lot. So I was sitting there, I think I had it just in a regular trash, you know, like a jewel bag, you know, grocery store plastic bag that I had these in because I didn't know how to store them. And then, thankfully, because of Totally Tiffany partnered with Kiwi Lane to create this. And it's, again, a holder. It has the handle. And the real cool thing about it is that it actually stores, it was made perfectly to fit all of the holders that Kiwi Lane actually sells. So this is just one of many different styles of holders that they have. I'll show you actually one holder inside of it that has items in it. And of course, one of my items is trying to escape. Give me 1 second. Love it when it happens on camera, right? Okay, so this one has a top tier that's just a really short thing, and then it has this bottom pocket here. So you can actually see where the bottom pocket ends and where the top pocket begins. What I tend to do is I always tear off the back that actually gives me all the info here. Hey, Joy. With them. And I just always keep that in the back so I can use it as a reference. But, so these are the holders. And you get these from Kiwi Lane specifically. But they fit perfectly inside of here. And I'm just going to put this one back, and then I'm actually going to show you how much I have in here. I don't have all of the different Kiwi Lane items, but you can tell I have a lot. This back section here is loose. Hey, Christine. Hope you guys are having a good evening. But I get a lot in here. And it seals up. It's portable, so this is really nice. I am definitely taking this because I told Marcella I would show her some of the layouts that I make after this weekend. So this is, again, another one of the Totally Tiffany products that I love because I already use Kiwi Lane. Now, you could use it for other things as well. You could put your 12-inch long borders in here. I will grab one and I will just show you at least the length for that. So this is with a 12-inch border, and you can tell it fits. So while it's not really tall like these others are, you could put things like that in here. You could use these for stickers. You could use these for embellishments. So those are a couple ideas. I know sticker and embellishments storage is always an issue. I may consider actually buying another one of these for that. Because again, it's so portable. I mean, it's incredible how easy it is. You just pick it up and take it to wherever you're going. And it's small. And there's a lot of stuff that fits in these. So far we've talked about the scraps. So if wondering what to do with your scraps for those who came on later. If that's something, hey Dawn, if that's something that you were interested in, definitely watch the beginning of this because that's the very first thing that I talked about. We talked about different card sizes. We talked about these can be used for stencils, envelopes, for power, if you do power layouts. I traditionally don't, but this is my first 3-day crop, so I definitely want to try to be prepared and not overly prepared because we only have so much space that we're given. The last thing that I just wanted to talk about really quick is one of my failures. So everybody has, like I said at the beginning, everybody has different organization styles. Everybody has different needs. Yeah, Crystal, it is. Like I said, I had kind of heard of them and I was like, what am I ever going to do with that? And then for some reason, something clicked and I saw somebody showcasing one of them and that was where the scraps came from. And I'm like, that is hands down the best use that I've ever seen of how people store their scraps. Because it's portable. It's the same size as what a lot of other people use for a lot cheaper. Because honestly, you are buying the 5-pack pockets and you are buying a holder for that. And I do recommend buying both. One without the other almost seems... You'd have to put all the pockets in something. So it makes sense to me to buy both. But it's not the cheapest solution. That's definitely for sure. And it's only been since like last year that I was able to get away from the cheap solution for a lot of these things. And I know it's not for everybody. Okay, so here is my failure. I don't think I even mentioned this as a failure on February when I talked about it previously. But it really is, in my mind, considered a failure just because it really isn't working for me. And I'm going to set this up here for now, just to give myself a little bit more room here. So this is one Totally Tiffany's craft binder. A lot of people love it, and I loved it at the start as well. But what I'm finding is it's bulky. 12 by 12 is really about this size. And this thing extends, a couple of inches past that. It's like 14 inches. So it takes up more room. It's bulky. And it's kind of heavy because the bag itself is very durable. It's craft, it's a craft bag. So it's canvas, very durable. Got the zipper, got lots of pockets, lots of functionality. I'm just finding out, for me, it's not quite as good. But I will show it to you because somebody else may love it. There is this full pocket in here that you could put a trimmer in. You could put anything else that's taller that you might have. It's not a full 12 by 12 size, so you probably do need something that's about 6 or 7 inches or less. And I'm just going to the bottom because the zipper, for whatever reason, I put the zippers on the bottom. And it does have the shoulder, as I showed you. It does actually have the shoulder part. You can do it by this, you know, by hand, or you can do it by a shoulder. The shoulder pad's not really that padded, but I mean, it technically doesn't need to be. That's like more of a luxury. And this is everything that's inside of it. I just have to unzip the bottom part so you can see it fully. And I'm going to, this is where I said I might have to just adjust the camera angle a little bit, just to make sure that you guys can all see it. So I'm going to show you this edge here first. So there are all these pockets, and it's Velcroed. So there's 1, 2, 3 individual pockets. They're all the same size. And all these spots here that you could put pens or scissors or, you know, just different things in there. They do have a little give because I am putting an index finger in there. So you could do your daubers if you know, distress ink or something. So it does give some flexibility there. And then I'll show you the back side. The back side comes with a full 12 by 12 pocket. And it's very deep and it's very high here, so stuff generally isn't going to fall out. What do I have in here right now? I've got a page planner idea, book from Creative Memories. I have lots of the memory protectors, basically the flip flaps, the 6 by 12 from Close to My Heart. And I have another kind of color blocking idea book. And there's still lots more room in here. This was just kind of a catch-all storage for anything related to templates and things. And then you can see just how many of these kind of 12 by 12 sized, I'm not even sure what to call them. There's a name for them, I'm just blanking on it right now. But what I have, as I showed you at the beginning, was I have all of my 12 by 12 stencils are in here. I don't have any of the smaller size stencils, but I do have all of the Creative Memories templates in here. I do have the old style. If you're old Creative Memories person, you recognize what these are. I've got the page planner, which went with the book, which are basically just more of these that are old style for Creative Memories. This was 8.5 by 11 size. These are old journaling type ideas. Again, most of it's Creative Memories in there from the olden days from the 90s. For the cutting system, this is where I've stored every single one of the patterns. The only one that does not fit in here is the rectangles. For some reason, they decided to make that size wrong. And then here's all my Leah France stencils. So these guys, I love these pockets because, and I know that there's, here, I'll just use this one. So these are Totally Tiffany. You can store it in here. You can store it in a number of their different systems. It is a 3-ring binder punch on it. So any 3-ring binder, even that you have, you might have been using on your own. And then the nice thing about it is it has this little flap that comes up. So it is a cover. It doesn't seal, but it is a cover, but so it's easy enough to get items in and out, and then you just flap that down. So it's kind of like, it's not a full protection, but it is nice and covered. And other things that they have, because Totally Tiffany, one of the things that they're known for the most is their scrap rack system. And so these, I did not buy. I think these actually might have come with this craft binder. And so I love it, but if this tips, stuff is falling out because, again, it has these same lids that just, you know, it kind of provides a little protection, but if it's on its side, the stuff is going to come right out. But this, for example, has 3 pockets down times 4 across, so there's 12 different things that you can put in there. And it's really easy because I was able to punch out a lot of items and then just stick them in there. And then they actually came, I think, with 4 of these. 2 of them that were that size, and then 2 of them were actually 4 pockets. So they're for larger, deeper things. Because again, you could put your embellishments in here. They have these pockets in different sizes, like, again, this. So you could put paper packs. It starts to get heavy the more things that you add. That's thicker. And that's, like I said, this is a thick binder, heavy binder as it is, so when you start adding all of this weight, it's a lot to carry. So this system, you can tell here, the last thing I'm just going to say about this, you can tell this is 12 by 12, and the problem is you can see all of this extra space over here. So like I said, it definitely ran like 14 or 15 inches, which for me is too long. I really need to find something that's going to keep this contained, you know, by itself. So I'm still looking. I'm still figuring that one out. I might use one of these and just store the items without putting them in protective sleeves, and then some of them that are groups, I might keep them in a sleeve just to keep them together. I haven't tried that yet, but that is one of the things I want to try after this retreat. So this, like I said, this binder is the only thing that I've bought from them that I would really technically consider a fail for me. It's wonderful. It does a lot of good things. It's just a little too big and bulky for me. But so far I'm the only person I know who actually feels that way about it, because it carries everything so nicely that it's like that and you're done. So I can't go wrong with that. And I think that was actually all the Totally Tiffany products that I had. But just to run through everything, we talked about scraps, we talked about items I have that can hold cards and envelopes, stickers and embellishments, we talked about full-size paper, cardstock, we talked about the Kiwi Lane storage that they make specifically, we talked about binders, they even have rolling carts, they have things that you can put around your chair. If it has arms, you can't do it, and it'll actually be like a craft apron that sits on your chair. So they have a lot of cool things, and stuff that I haven't even gotten into. So that's really what I wanted to discuss. Like I said, I will put the links for all of these items in a separate post so you can see them. And I hope that I might have given some suggestions, some ideas, or even made you think about maybe something you have at home, how you could repurpose it for something else that you need. And with that, I'm going to say, have a great evening, everyone. I will see you on the boards and see you live next month for May 22nd, which is talking about the stamp and storage products. Now, I am just going to move the camera really quick, so there's a little bit of shake here. So we will be talking about all of these wood things next time. So this is just kind of your preview all the way down to there. So that's kind of your preview on that, and I will say good night.